What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media. A little bit of few minutes early on this one, and I kind of changed the time back a little bit too. But yes, episode 50 of the BSM Podcast, a big milestone. Can't believe we've made it 50 episodes. I know it's inconsistent. I've tried to get back to it this year. I want to continue this. I really do. I think this could be something great. Uh, the Ballard Blitz every Wednesday morning around 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. I think actually I did 7 Eastern this week, but that's something I want to see grow. If you ever want to be a guest on there, please let me know. Don't forget, hit the thumbs up. Thank you, Joey, for promoting that in the comments there. Joey Foster. Love you, buddy. Miss talking with you guys, honestly, because I've been so busy with work and everything, but gotta find time throughout the week at some points and uh, all that. So Joey says, "Howdy, howdy, Ballard, my friend. Smash the thumbs up, everybody." Yeah, appreciate that. I'll go ahead and drop the StreamYard link too. Let's just kind of hang out today and kind of roll with it. I know I was doing film review this week with Mayhem Matthew, and I guess that went well. I enjoyed it. It was late at night. I didn't have all the energy in the world, but we got it taken care of. And it's like an 8-minute video on his channel. Go check it out. 3-star running back Trayvon, I'm sorry, Dunbar Film Watch is what he titled it. Got a pretty good thumbnail. I'll drop the link there. Let me get that real quick. Also, I dropped the StreamYard link if you want to be a part of the show. Would love to have you guys on, and it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see what we continue to do with this channel. The radio station stuff, we should start baseball up soon, but I'm not entirely sure. I should get a schedule here. Well, I don't know when, but we're looking into that. We just wrapped up regionals in basketball, which I hear went very well. I had to work a lot at my other job, so I pretty much missed that. But we did the Coleman County tournament a few weeks ago at the end of January, so I think that went very well. And yeah, just God's doing big things, doing really big things in in my life, and I'm sure in everybody else's life too. So yeah, really don't have much to talk about. I mean, we could look into some baseball if you want to. College football, well, I would say this about college football. Okay. So let me think about this for a second. The NFL is not a week removed from the season's end with the Super Bowl and the Chiefs repeat. You have college football, spring practice is going to get underway soon at like the start of March. Can't wait to see what Kalen DeBoer does. Excited for Hugh Freeze in Auburn. Uh, Mark Stoops in Kentucky. I could go down the list of all the SEC teams and everything. But baseball, baseball's here. I mean, practically. I guess it's this week. Thursday we open up with a 3:10 game, three uh 3:10 Eastern with the Padres and the Dodgers on ESPN. I probably won't go live for that. Um, but I definitely want to keep an eye on it and see how everything goes and see what these teams look like. I think it'd be exciting to watch. I really do. Other way, I want to check something. We've had internet trouble this week, which is part of why you haven't seen too much of me. I want to check and make sure this sounds okay for you guys. Testing 1, 2, 3. I guess it sounded okay there. I see you back there, Joey. I'll get you here in a second. Yeah, sounds good to me. All right. What's up, Joey?
What do you say, Ballard? Yeah, you sound fine, man. You sound good.
Yeah, we've had like this. So our internet here at the lake is not the best, and it is like it has been beyond terrible this week, to the point that we got a hotspot type of box that we've been
Yeah.
using. So it's just been crazy.
I use T-Mobile, uh, their internet. I've got one of their
Yeah,
5G boxes, whatever it works really good. I don't have a lot of trouble with it. I mean, at all. Usually, like we'll have two TVs on, and my wife's hooked up to it on her phone, and so like
yeah.
sometimes our kids will come over or something just to visit, and I might have a show to do, and I'll get on there and start doing the show. Everybody's using their internet, and it still doesn't affect me. Don't bother me a bit. So T-Mobile's pretty good.
I'll have to look into that. That sounds amazing.
So tell me something. What's going on in the college football world over there in the SEC country?
Uh, I mean, I guess we're just getting ready for Texas and Oklahoma. Now I did see an article earlier, and I'm on ESPN right now. It's right here, actually. Um, they're talking. They're talking about coaches under pressure, not just in the SEC, but they did mention Kalen DeBoer, and I guess that has kind of been a big question for Alabama lately. Is how much pressure do you put on Kalen DeBoer as far as you know, how does he live up to Nick Saban and,
I don't think
what
he
should
has
his
to.
expectations be?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think he has to live up to Nick Saban. There's nobody going to follow in Nick Saban's shoes, right?
right.
It didn't happen at LSU. It didn't happen anywhere he's been. Nobody's really followed in his footsteps. I do think Alabama's always going to be Alabama, right? Will they
Yeah,
go through a downturn here? I think there's a possibility for the next year or two. While he's getting his culture in place, right? His culture is going to be a little bit different than Nick Saban's. While he gets his team in place, because it's going to be a little bit different. Maybe he's going to run some different stuff than Nick Saban did. So I think there'll be some. I think there'll be some changes that goes on. But regardless, you get so much talent down there that I just do not see a big slide off. I mean, I've seen somebody. I was watching somebody the other night said Alabama will be lucky to win 7 games this year, and I was like, I don't know where in the world you got that from. That's just coming out of that field somewhere. It's 7 games. Come on, the,
I
Alabama's going to win
did.
at least 9 and probably 10 or 11. So
I I kind of speculate 8 or 9. I think I pegged them at 9-3 when I did the preview video. So,
yeah,
but I mean, 10's doable. I mean, the thing is they bring back so much talent. They're not
yeah.
really losing too much to the portal. I mean, they lost quite a few, but I mean, it's not like it was starters too much. But here's something I want to share. This was actually from 3 days ago. But Mark Schlabach put this out. This is the way too early top 25 after transfer portal and coaching carousels. Georgia's obviously number one. Ohio State's number two. Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame, Ole Miss, Missouri, Penn State, Alabama, and Utah in your top 10. Do you have any thoughts on this?
My only thought is it seems like every year Penn State's always ranked in the top 10, and then by the end of the year, they've lost to Ohio State, Michigan, and maybe somebody else, and they're not in the top
Yeah,
10. It's like they always did with Texas too. Texas always got ranked up there, and then by the end of the year, they were not even ranked or they were just terrible. They do the same thing. They do that with programs that are what blue blood. Penn State's a blue blood program, and so they're just going to always rank them. They always fall out. Now I thought last year was probably the best team Penn State's had in a long time, and they screwed that up. So maybe Franklin's not the best coach for him right now, possibly. Not saying that's the case, but the thing about it is he did a great job at Vanderbilt. Why can't he do it? Why can't he replicate it at Penn State? I don't know. I mean, he's just not. He's not been able to get over that hump, right? And
Yeah.
so, and I think, and part of that too is it might help him now since they've done away with divisions. Because before he always played Ohio State, he always played Michigan. I mean, so now they're doing away with the divisions. Maybe he can have a year where he's not playing out of one of those teams until a championship game, you know, and can make it to a
Well, that's the
championship.
thing too, I think I had done their schedule preview a month ago, and I know they open up with your Mountaineers. They play
Yeah.
Bowling Green. I could go down the list with the non-con. They still play Illinois. They have to play the new teams in UCLA and USC. They
Hmm.
only get really as far as a tough game. I would throw a wrench like Washington as a tough game, maybe, but you get them at home. You still play Ohio State. But you mentioned Michigan. They're not on the schedule at all whatsoever, which I don't know how Penn State fans want to feel about that. Maybe it's kind of 50-50. It's like, oh, well, there's gonna be an extra win in the column, for next season because we don't play Michigan. Or maybe you're a traditionalist and you say, "Well, we're supposed to play teams like that." So I don't know how they really feel, but they do not get a team like Michigan on the schedule, but they do still have the Buckeyes.
Right. Right. So I don't agree with that one. Another one. Scroll back up there so I can see who else there was in the top 10 real quick because I got see Utah
Alabama's
and
at 9.
Alabama. Okay, that might be a little. That might be good for them.
What?
9.
There's
Penn
Penn
State.
State. Missouri.
Missouri.
Let's talk
Missouri.
about them.
It's 7. All right. So I don't know a lot about Missouri. I know they had a good team last year. I don't know what they're returning. Um, but I don't remember seeing them. I looked at the top 25 returning production, and I don't remember seeing Missouri in there, but they could have been top 25 returning production. Um, but and if they are to be number 7 in the nation, in my opinion, they would need to be returning probably 80% production. Honestly, I mean, when you're playing in the
At
SEC.
most, though. That's at most. Here's what they say. This was the winter update that they put out the other day for Missouri. They previously ranked them at 8. They have them at 7 here. They went 11-2. They say the Tigers will have to replace some key players if they're going to match last season's surprising success. Life without tailback Cody Schrader. So they don't have Cody Schrader.
Yeah.
It won't be easy. Cornerbacks, Chris Abrams, Drain, Ennis Rakestraw, who I think was a transfer from another SEC team. Linebacker Tyron Hopper. Those guys, they say, were highly productive. I remember watching them last year. They got to
Hmm.
replace guys like that. So Blake Baker left for LSU. Their defensive coordinator, Eli Drinkwitz, uh, is still the head coach, obviously. I think he's a really good head coach. Who he got to replace Blake Baker is Corey Batoon. Uh, so
Hmm.
they mentioned some guys that they get from the transfer portal. They get Darius Smith from Georgia. They get Toriano Pride Jr. from Clemson, defensive lineman Chris McClellan from Florida. So it looks like I would say they've kind of made up for what they've lost with the transfer portal, but at the same time, it also mentions uh, they'll have a new defensive coordinator with Eli Drinkwitz, but we'll just have to wait and see. I'm pretty high on Missouri, but not high on them having success like they did last year.
Yeah. So let's look at what the odds are on Missouri for as far as what's their, have you looked to see what their, oh, this is just Big 12. I'm
Like
looking at
win
Big 12
totals?
on the win totals that came out the other day. Do you remember what Missouri
I'm gonna
was
look
in
at
the win total?
SEC.
You know, the idiots got West Virginia at 6.5. I
6.5?
mean, we return like 85% of our production, 91% on offense. We turn like 91% of
Yeah,
our offense. That
yeah.
won 9 games last year. They got our win total at 6.5. Watched that. I watched the thing today. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it here. This was kind of funny too because I, I love I love media and how stupid they can be sometimes. So
Yeah.
MSN MSN today came out with B12 power rankings, and they have
Yeah.
there's 16 teams in the B12, right? There's 16 teams in the B12, and they have West Virginia 11th in the B12. Ahead of them,
Ouch.
they've got teams like UCF, Iowa State, Colorado. Um,
They got
I've
Colorado up there?
they got Colorado as number 5 in the Big 12. I'm
Number
like, what in the
5.
world? What are they talking about? Number 5 in the Big 12? Yeah. They've got Arizona number 1. Now tell me something. Arizona just lost a bunch. They lost their head coach. They lost a bunch of players. They lost players graduation, then some players transferred. Arizona is going to play
It's
rebuilding
prime
this year.
time.
Yeah. They're going to play
Colorado
rebuilding
number
this year.
5.
Yeah. Utah, they got number 2. Utah's going to be a good team. I don't have a problem with them saying Utah number 2. That's fine. Oklahoma State, they got 3. Kansas 4. 2 good teams. We know that Lance Leipold started up at Kansas, and we know not don't ever underestimate Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. Then they got Kansas State 6, so right after Colorado. Texas Tech 7. Iowa State 8. UCF 9. TCU 10. And West Virginia 11. Now get this. UCF last year, I think West Virginia went to UCF and beat them 42-3. I think it was 42-3. We drug their ass up and down the field.
Yeah.
We just beat them like a drum. And they've lost players, and we returned 90%. And they're coming to Morgantown this year. I mean, I don't know who
It's
in the hell
ridiculous.
did these rankings, but they were plumb foolish. And I know I don't. I'm sure you don't want to talk about Big 12, but I'm just saying all these rankings that are coming out right now are just foolish. And these win totals, I looked at them; they're foolish. They're just crazy around the country. Period.
Yeah. So let's get back to the SEC too.
Uh-huh.
So
That's
Missouri's
fine.
9.5. They say over. Kentucky 6.5, and they go under. Ouch. I don't know. Arkansas 5.5. They go under. Arkansas probably will fire Sam Pittman. I don't know. Mississippi State 4.5. They go over. Vandy's 2.5 over. Florida 5.5, and they go with the under. Oh God. Okay. Oklahoma 7.5, and they go under.
Oh man.
Oh, they I gotta read what they say. They say under a brutal debut schedule for the Sooners in the SEC, who should go 4-0 against non-con teams, Houston, Temple, Tulane, and Maine. Auburn and South Carolina look like wins right now, but OU would have to be either Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Tennessee, Alabama, or LSU to get 7.
I
Of
thought y'all were
those
going to start.
teams,
I thought the SEC was going to
they
start playing 9 conference games. They're just playing 8.
I thought they were too. I guess they're sticking to 8. They're sticking to 8. I had heard that they were gonna go to 9 down the road, maybe 2025, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Where's Rooster at? 5.5 for South Carolina. They say
five and a
over.
half.
I like it.
They said, I like that. I'd say over for South Carolina.
I would
I
take
think
I
South
would
Carolina
bet.
can get 7 this year, easy.
Yeah, I was fixing to say I would bet like $200 or something that they probably go like
Yeah.
7-5 or yeah.
Hmm.
They'll be good. They'll be good.
Well,
They
I'm gonna
gotta
I'm
go
gonna put
to
a
Tuscaloosa.
I'm gonna put $1,000 on West Virginia to go over that 6.5. I did
Yeah.
last year. They had us at 5.5 again. I was like, they're crazier than crap. And I just can't figure out some of these rankings. Auburn, where they got Auburn at?
Nick Saban's stepchild, 7.5.
And they're
They
saying
say
under.
under. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone caught what I just said.
Nick Saban's stepchild. Yeah, what it
He
is.
beat. I mean, he did finish with a winning record against them. That's fair. Texas A&M, 8.5. That's interesting.
Now,
Now they picked the under.
yeah,
They picked the under.
here comes
They
Texas
play Notre
A&M,
Dame.
man. Here comes Texas A&M, man, with a new coach.
Mhm.
But we know how good the players have got. So, but I don't see 8.5 for Texas A&M. I see 8. I don't see 8.5.
Well, that's why they're picking the under. They actually
Mm-hmm.
see 7 wins, and they mentioned um, that they play Notre Dame in Florida early. That those wins could be huge. They're not ready to call that yet. Auburn is the other big road game, and all a pretty winnable slate with the biggest games coming at home for the Aggies. So,
Well, maybe. Ole
oh,
Miss,
Ole Miss 9.5,
9.5.
and they take the over. I like that. I like Ole Miss. I know we don't have divisions, but if it were up to me right now, I would probably take Ole Miss in the West. I know it's not divisions, but don't be
Right.
surprised if they make some noise.
Ole Miss can be pretty good. But
Yeah,
Tennessee, where they got Tennessee at?
good old Rocky Top. 8.5 over.
Rocky Flop is going 8.5. Let's see. I could. Nah, I think 8. I think I'd have to take the under on them. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
me
know why.
too.
I just had that feeling. I just had that feeling. I realize Tennessee's good now and doing better, get better every year. I just do not feel like this is I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of teams going past 8 wins this year around the country, with the exceptions of a few. I can see Ohio State doing it. I can see Georgia doing it. But when you got these new
Thing
teams coming
about
into, you got these new teams coming out of the pack into the Big Ten, and now the pack into the Big 12,
yeah,
and you got new teams coming out of the Big 12 into the SEC. That's going to create some turmoil. Either teams aren't going to be able to either Oklahoma and Texas are coming to the SEC, and they're either going to get their ass handed to them quite a bit,
yeah,
or they're going to beat some teams that aren't expected to lose the game because they're playing like they used to play in the Big 12. Just you got these Big 12 offenses that don't play a lot of defense sometimes. Although it's getting better, we started playing some defense, but we still got good offenses. So, you get a different style of football between every conference, and that's the truth. If you go to the Big Ten, you've got big linemen, big offensive linemen, big defensive linemen, and they're going to run that ball down your throat, and they got a defensive line that's going to shut your run down. You go to the
yeah,
SEC, you go to the SEC, or I'm sorry, you go to the Big 12, and you've got wide receivers and quarterbacks. Look, there's quarterbacks all over this conference in the Big 12, and there's some great wide receivers and some excellent running backs. So it's a different style of football. SEC, same thing. It's just different styles of football in every conference, and either one conference can come in and beat the other conference, or they just can't. And I just don't know about Oklahoma and Texas what they're going to do in the SEC. Same thing with Arizona and Utah, Colorado, and them coming into the Big 12 and Arizona State. What can they do, bringing over everybody that played Pac-12 football for so long, now coming to Big 12 football, and it's just a different
yeah,
style of football. So I could see Utah coming into the Big 12 and running the table, and I could see Utah coming into the Big 12 and losing 5 games. It's just that it's just like that. And same way with
yeah,
Oklahoma and Texas. I could see them coming into the SEC, running the table. I could see them coming into the SEC and losing 5, 6 games. So I can that I think with this, and for this year anyway, for this next year, I think we all need to step back and watch and see what's going to happen because I think things are going to shape up a little bit differently than we're expecting all across the nation.
Yeah, I've been on the record on here saying that Oklahoma and Texas, especially Oklahoma, like they're not gonna come into the SEC and like act like their stuff don't stink or anything like that, and act like they're the big boys. But they're not gonna drop like 8 or 7 games. I mean, I think they're
Nah,
marginal right in the middle, but um, I don't know. I like Texas being favored more so than Oklahoma. I think the Sark having the experience at Alabama and knowing the SEC a little bit, I think that he has potential there in year one. But at the same time, I still think it's going to take a year or two even for Texas. But so
yeah.
Tennessee, they have 8.5 wins. Ole Miss, we looked at 9.5. LSU, I want to see this 9.5, and they take the under for LSU. Huh? That's that's about right. I would put them at 7,
Yeah.
maybe 8. I don't
Um,
know.
yeah, LSU is one of the teams. They can always surprise you, right? And so
They can.
you never know what they're going to do. So 9.5, though. Yeah, I'd stay away from that line because it
Mhm.
could easily be 8, or it could easily be 10.5. So I'd stay away from that
Well, here we go.
one.
Texas.
New
All
kids
right.
on the block. New
Yeah,
kids
yeah,
on the
yeah.
block.
Texas at 10.5, and they take the over.
Ooh. So they're
Now they
expecting Texas to come
mentioned,
in.
yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
Wow.
That's that
I'm
blue
excited
blood
for this.
mentality. That's the kind of respect that a blue blood gets. That's what always happened to
Yeah.
them, even while they were in the Big 12. They'd come in with these big projected wins, and they'd put them at 10.5 or 11, and it just wasn't going to. It just didn't happen. Texas was lucky. They won 8, 9 games in the Big 12 every year up until last year, and so yeah, and then they're still doing it. They're still doing it. They're throwing them in, and they're going to give them 10.5. I don't know,
Here's
man.
the kicker, though, for Texas. It mentions they got to play Michigan on the road in Ann Arbor. That's a home and home. They play in week 2. So if they pull off an upset there against the defending champs, and you say whatever you want to about Harbaugh leaving and what Michigan will do, I still think that's a huge win to win in the big house, especially when
Yeah,
you're not used to environments like that, like Texas. I mean, yeah, they've had their fair share of Big 12 environments. But I mean, the big house is the big house, and if they
right.
could pull that off in week 2, they buddy buckle up. But they say over 10.5. What do you say to that?
No, I'm saying under. I'm gonna say under.
Under.
Now
Okay.
listen, here's what I would do. I'd stay away from the line. I wouldn't bet it. I think it'll be under 10.5.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's a
have
line
to
I'm
as
staying
well.
away from.
And I credit them
Mm,
for the transfer portal and recruiting as well. That being said, Alabama. Oh
Alabama,
boy. Oh no.
Bama time.
Nine
Nine
and
and a
a
half
half, and they go
under.
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 All
Wow.
right. Wow.
Huh. Uh, well, it does say it's their most difficult schedule in recent seasons. They have to go to Wisconsin. They're hosting Georgia, and then have a straight late stretch that includes trips against Tennessee, LSU, and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So
I
if
mean,
they've
they
got
just
to,
named 5. They named 4 road games that you could screw up on, and plus you host a team that's going to be in the playoff and everything. Like, just go ahead and book it for Georgia. But like, they're thinking under 9.5, but they're mentioning these 5 games. I mean, is 5 losses on this schedule likely to happen?
I could see them losing to Georgia, of course. I don't see them losing
Yeah.
to Wisconsin. I think they'll win against Wisconsin. I
I think it'd
think
be close to.
I think between LSU, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, I think they'll lose two of those.
Okay.
So if you figure in the
That's
Georgia loss,
three.
that's three losses. So that would be the under, right? So
All right.
that's what I would say. They'll lose two of those three against Tennessee, LSU, and Oklahoma, and they will lose to Georgia. They'll beat Wisconsin, and they'll beat one of those teams, and then that's it.
I'm going to take a guess on Georgia here before we look at it. I'm going to say they put them at 10.5 and take the over. Let's see what they say. 10.5. Oh, they take the under.
Under? Oh wow,
They took the
now that's hard to believe.
Carstonian Beckworth under 10 wins in 2024.
uh,
Unless they got them
um,
right at 10. Unless they got them at 10. We'll see. So this is the last one, I think, in this list. So Georgia, they say under 10.5. Alabama and Texas are big early games, both on the road, in addition to three other likely ranked teams. Opening up against Clemson, going to Ole Miss, and hosting Tennessee, Georgia should be in the college football playoff, but it won't be undefeated. And by the way, let's talk about that. So two lost teams, are they pretty much, if it's a good enough resume, are they at large for the playoff this year? I never heard the official announcement on a two-loss team this year.
I don't know. I haven't heard that either. As far as I know,
Yeah,
you're a conference champion. You're in, and a two-loss team could still get in, right? Because there's 12 teams. So there's
yeah,
going to be a two-loss. There's going to be two-loss teams in there.
yeah. Because you can't have 12 like 13 or 12 win teams. You can't have 12 of them. So I guess
No,
you'd
it's
have to
just
have some 10 or 11-2.
yeah. You're gonna have some. Well, you're gonna have in regular season. You're gonna have some 10-2 teams get in playoffs with 12 teams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
in regular season, you're going to have some 10-2 teams because if you look at the top 12 teams every year, there's always a couple that are 12-0, or maybe just one, but sometimes usually there's two, and then you might have four or five teams that have one loss, and then the rest of them all have two losses.
Hmm.
That's usually how it goes. I have to go. My wife has just messaged me and said that dinner is ready. So I'm going to go
All
eat
right.
some dinner, Ballard, but I wanted to come in with you a minute and chat while I had a moment. So appreciate you having me on, man.
Love you, Joey. Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. See you later.
All right. Appreciate Joey Foster for coming on here today. I did drop the StreamYard link. I know we don't really have many viewers at the moment, and I appreciate those who are watching. It says three. So really love and appreciate all three of you watching. And actually, it being almost 5:30, we've gone on for about half an hour. I think we'll call it an episode today. Um, I know it's not very big for a 50th episode of the BSM podcast, but we looked at win totals today with Joey Foster, and honestly, what more could you want there? I myself am going to go eat some dinner. I hope everyone has a great weekend. I got family coming up, so looking forward to it. Gonna spend some good quality family time, and um, I got to work a little bit too, but I know God's got a great plan uh, for my life, for everybody's life. You just got to believe it, have the faith, keep working, keep grinding, keep doing everything you're doing. You'll get somewhere. I love y'all. Have a good night. God bless. And from an Alabama fan, roll tide. Peace out. I love y'all. We'll see you.